What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Thursday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It's time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric Big 12 college football show. That's right, it's the one, it's the only, it's the biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster. Wherever you are, thank you so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night. Got a great show for you. We're going to be talking Oscar nominations and college football. What more could you possibly want, at least if your brain is wired like mine? But before we get into any of that, you know I need some things from you. And the thing that I need more than anything is a subscription, okay? Like and subscribe to the show at Big 12 BOCFB. There it is right there. That's the handle that you want to go looking for. If you're on Twitter watching this, hey, love you. What's up? Glad you're here. Go to YouTube, you degenerate, and subscribe to the show. Help us grow this thing. Let's make this a worldwide phenomenon if we can help it, okay? Also, follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55. There it is there. And my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Comedy there for you. And don't forget, you can catch the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. I was like, what's the other one? We're on all of them, okay? So make us a part of your commute. If you can't catch the show live, you can't join in the conversation, which I already see some of y'all are doing. What's up, Jackson? Good to see you this evening. Make sure you're downloading the podcast as well. And be sure to catch the College Football Show with Mark Rogers every single day. The big man, the godfather of this voice of college football thing we're doing. If you're not watching his show, I mean, I don't know. Can you even call yourself a college football connoisseur? I really don't know that you can. And we got team channels, okay? So whatever your team is, we've been pumping that Ole Miss channel a lot lately, okay? At Ole Miss VOCFB, at Iowa State VOCFB, TCU VOCFB. You name it, we've got one. So go check that out on your YouTube app, on your YouTube browser, whatever you got going on. Okay, so without further ado, let's get this sucker going. Why are you wearing a frown? Because Mr. Brown's in town. Here he is, my co-host, Brownie. What is up, friendo? I understand you've been a little under the weather, right?
Yeah, just getting over some sickness. So if I all of a sudden go deaf, it's because I'm probably low-key dying.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. Chat, be sure to alert us if Brownie collapses outside of frame. We'll be looking out for that. I mean, things have been going around. So y'all know I'm a teacher, and I mean, I feel like kids every 2 seconds, it's like, oh, well, so-and-so's gone because they're sick. So-and-so's gone because they're sick. Lots of flu and COVID and everything else. So stay vitamined up out there, friends.
Teachers are just built differently. Your guys' immune system can handle so much.
I'm saying, I mean, I can only imagine if I was a kindergarten teacher. That's a whole nother ball.
Oh, God. Yeah, especially since they stick their hands and fingers in whatever the heck that they feel like.
Yeah, no kidding. I was going to make a joke, but I'm not. I was going to make a Hollywood joke. So before we get into the main entree of the evening, Brownie, what did you think about the Super Bowl last night?
Glorious. Mm-hmm. Absolutely loved the entire thing of it. Patrick Mahomes getting exposed by yet another good defense always just makes me so happy. The last time I've seen Patrick Mahomes play that crappily, they lost to Iowa State 66-10 with a starting linebacker as their quarterback. So, yeah, you love to see it.
I was getting some 82-27 vibes personally. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, that may have been the first time I've ever actually rooted for the Eagles. I may have been passively rooting for the Eagles when they played the Patriots that one year, but I'm a Cowboys fan. Ultimately, I hate the Eagles, but I loved every single second of that game. I mean, the Chiefs have so had that coming, and it was just such a breath of fresh air seeing them exposed.
You couldn't even fix that game. Like, the only way that you could fix that game is call every single holding, and it would have hurt the Chiefs more than the Eagles.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like everyone's talking about the halftime show. What do you think of Kendrick?
Oh, I love me some Kendrick. Especially the way that man legit smiled and stared right into the camera when he said, hey. During the entire thing, I was like, I know for a fact that he's going to play Anus. I just knew that it was coming. And then when he had that first excerpt where he's like, everybody wants me to play it. And the girls are behind him like, what song? And you just heard the do 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 do. I was like, yeah, it's coming. And then straight into a different song, and I was like, oh, we all know that it's still coming.
Yep.
And as soon as it popped off, wow. Especially when the entire stadium just broke out in a minor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Pretty good.
that's a bit different.
Pretty good. I will say, I mean, my favorite album of his is Good Kid, Mad City. So I was a little bummed that he didn't do anything from that album. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good performance. Really fun staging, honestly, more than anything else. And yes, Jackson, you're out here doing the Lord's work. Let's get the biggest 12 to 1,000 subs. That would be a wonderful late Christmas present, early Christmas present for me. So let's do that. So our topic of the day, and this is what I'm excited about. Big movie guy. Oscar nominations are out, and I feel like it wasn't as good. It wasn't as great of a year of movies as the previous year, as 2022. That was an insane year of movies, but a lot of really great movies up for Oscars this year, and I thought it would be fun. I mean, hey, we're in the off-season content. What if we assigned Big 12 schools to the Oscar nominees this year? That's what we're going to do, okay? Brownie, have you caught any of the Oscar-nominated films this year? Not even Dune Part 2.
I've seen snippets.
Okay. Dude, you got to see Dune Part 2. It was really good.
See, I was never a huge Dune guy.
I think Denis Villeneuve is at the top of his game. I think he's doing great stuff. Did you see The Wild Robot?
I did not see The Wild Robot.
Okay, you see that too. Did you see Wicked or Nosferatu?
I've seen those.
Okay, there you go. So you've seen two films that are up for Oscars, but you've at least got some.
I have a few.
Yeah.
Is Wolverine and Deadpool on that list? Because I have also seen that one.
And that is unfortunately not up for an Oscar now.
That's some grade A bullshit. Greatest film ever of all time.
So I don't suppose if I was to ask you to guess which film I've given to Iowa State, you would have no chance of guessing, right?
Is it a movie where the protagonist dies at the end? Because that feels like our season.
Well, to be honest, it's a movie where I feel like it would have been better if the protagonist died at the end. In a way, the protagonist dies, but not really, if that makes any sense. Well, we'll get there when we get there. Yes, right, guy. And the Oscar goes to, okay, so.
The Oscar of not knowing anything goes to Brownie.
Well, we're going to have fun with it, though. We're going to have fun with it. So, first movie on the list. This is really my sleeper pick for Best Picture. It's a good time. Honora. Okay, so this is a Sean Baker joint. Honora is about a stripper who does escort work on the side. She starts getting paid to hang out with this really spoiled Russian kid who is the son of a Russian drug dealer, okay, this multi-billionaire Russian oligarch, okay, and they end up getting married in Vegas, at which time the goons working for the Russian oligarch, they come to try and take him to get this marriage annulled. He runs away, and then the rest of the movie is basically Honora and these goons trying to find this spoiled kid to, bring tie a bow around all this, right? I don't want to give everything away about the movie, but it does end with Honora in tears. I will say that, and I feel like there's a lot of hype around this movie. It's my sleeper pick for Best Picture, and I feel like this is Texas Tech. Okay, I feel like Honora is Texas Tech, and there's a couple reasons why.
Because of the strippers.
So mostly because of all of the money that's getting thrown around, none of which actually belongs to the son. Right, he's living in this mansion that belongs to his father, and is living this party hardy lifestyle on his father's dime. Honora also loves to run her mouth. She's very loudmouthed, very very foul mouthed, and likes to speak up for herself.
Can we bring Texas back, because this sounds more like a Texas film?
yeah.
It's got strippers. It's got money. It's got idiots. has everything that Texas is.
Sure, yeah. But yeah,
Eugene.
really, what's the kicker for me? Why I think it's Texas Tech is because there's all this hype around this film, but it ends up with Honora crying, and that just feels like a Texas Tech season. Am I wrong?
I mean, no. I kind of wish that more strippers were involved during Texas season. That would have definitely. But I mean, who knows? There could be.
Yeah.
I've seen weirder undercover things.
Yeah. Yeah. So right, guy, yes, definitely
Yeah,
not a family
definitely
film.
not a family film.
There's copious amounts of nudity in this film, but it really, after the marriage, like, it's actually the scene where he proposes to her. That's really when the movie took off for me, and it got really good, because all of the partying and nonsense that leads up to that is just really establishing the groundwork of, like, oh, he's like a really terrible, immature kid, and she's out of her depth and naive, and is willing to believe what he's selling her. But then, yeah, it's truly hilarious once they're like looking for him, running all around New York City trying to find this kid.
Kind of reminds me of like No Strings Attached. You remember that one?
Yeah,
or No Hard Feelings.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
there
the
are
Jennifer
some
Lawrence movie.
Yeah, and it is funny because it's classified as a rom-com, but it doesn't have a happy ending, right? Because it's a Sean Baker movie, so it's not going to have a happy ending. And Honora, she starts to form a bond more with one of these goons that's a lot deeper and more real than what she had with the son. But yeah, all you adults
like
out there, I
Romeo and
recommend you check it out.
Juliet, but with Jose on the side.
A little bit, a little bit. Yeah, is Texas Tech getting oil money? I don't know how they're spending so much. Yes, it is.
It's
exclusively
100% oil money.
Yeah, 100% oil money.
I
So
can't
that's my
wait for
pick for
Title
Honora.
IX to hit them.
Yeah, that's going to be really juicy whenever that finally happens. Okay, so we're going to go through Best Picture nominees first, the 10 Best Picture nominees, and then we'll clean up the other 6 teams with some other Oscar-nominated films in other categories. Next up on the list is The Brutalist. I have not had a chance to watch this one yet, but I'm hearing very good things.
I want to watch this one.
Yeah. So Adrian Brody plays. This is it's a biopic about the father of brutalist architecture, which is kind of terrible. It's exposed concrete and stuff. But basically, he is a Holocaust survivor. He flees war-torn Europe to come to America, where he gets a fresh start, and he's got a lot of potential, and he has a benefactor that sees something good in him, and because of that, he's able to launch this new career, as this celebrated architect in the United States. And that's really the extent of everything that I know about it. But based on the plot synopsis there, I feel like, and this is one that it took me forever. I had filled up most of the other movies, so this isn't like a 1-for-1 match, but it was giving me kind of TCU vibes, right? We've been running from the horrors of that national championship performance for 2 years now, right? We're trying to find that new start. There's a lot of potential with this team, but it needs something to get things going. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say that's fairly accurate. Yeah. I also really like him in what's the series Winning Time for the Lakers?
Adrian Brody?
I think so.
I mean, Winning Time. Winning Time was the 30 for 30 about Reggie Miller, right? Wasn't it?
No, this one's Winning Time: The Rise of the Laker Dynasty. It's got.
I haven't watched that.
Really, really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can't find. IMDb. Yeah, Adrian Brody plays Pat Riley in it.
Huh. That's actually really good casting.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I really liked him in the Lakers TV series because, yeah, like, not to get overly sidetracked with Winning Time, but that one's got a really good cast too because it has John Riley in it, Quincy Isaiah, Jason Clarke is Jerry West, which I thought was also a really good cast.
Mm-hmm.
Gabby Hoffman's in it, Hadley Robinson. Like, there's quite a few decent names in there, but yeah, I was like, oh, I know that guy. Like, I wanna watch it because he did Pat Riley like really, really good.
Oh, Adrian Brody's great. I mean, everybody talks about his performance in The Pianist.
Yep.
That won him an Oscar, very, very deservedly so. But I think one of
Very, very
my
good movie.
favorite Adrian Brody performances, I adore the movie Midnight in Paris. Love that movie
Mm,
if you've seen it. And
yep.
Adrian Brody plays Salvador Dali in that movie, and he does a great job in the one scene that he's in, just being crazy Salvador Dali. Okay, so 2 down. Am I 2 for 2, Brownie, or are we like, okay, this is not
Yeah,
this is not
sure.
working? Okay.
I'm just smiling and nodding at this point.
Sure. Next up, Timothy Chalamet's best chance at winning his first Oscar, because he is up for Best Actor for this, as well as Best Picture. A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic. This is another one that I had a really hard time figuring out a team to compare it to. I settled on Kansas State because, I think in a lot of ways, Avery Johnson's kind of a complete unknown, right? We don't know if he's going to step into that quarterback role and take Kansas State to the next level, or if they're going to stay around that 8-9 win threshold. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe K-Staters, and if John's in the chat, he can correct me on this. Maybe K-Staters have a little bit of a hipster Bob Dylan-y vibe. Just, if they were also wearing overalls, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, Brownie. Am I completely off base on this one? It gets better, I promise.
I mean, it's kind of weird thinking about like just going off of titles, like a complete unknown. If you're going strictly off of like last year, like I think the completely unknown would have been Arizona State, right? Because
Sure, yeah.
nobody would have known anything about them, and then all of a sudden they just popped onto the scene, just like kind of what Bob Dylan did, like came out of the wet work. But I mean, I like making fun of K State, so sure, let's make him Bob Dylan.
Yeah. Truly, this is the last one that I assigned. I was like, oh, well, K-State's the only team left. I guess K-State's
Sorry,
a
not
complete unknown.
sorry.
Yeah.
Punks.
Yeah, I was like, I guess K-State's a complete unknown. Yeah, so this one, I have the flimsiest reasoning for this assignment of all the others.
I am A-okay with this.
Yeah. Okay, next one was Conclave. Conclave is
I have
Rafe
seen
Fiennes.
this one.
You have seen it? Oh, okay.
I have seen Conclave. I actually just watched that on Saturday while Loki dying.
Okay. So give us a no spoilers review and no spoilers plot synopsis briefly.
Oh, boo. Basically what happens is the Pope passes away, and the entire movie revolves around Ralph's character running what is called the conclave, which is just the Roman Catholic version of voting for the Pope. And a whole bunch of things come up that are very, I don't want to say stereotypical, but pretty stereotypical of Catholic, things.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And he basically has to fight through all of it in order to get the amount of votes for a pope that they see is fit and more progressive than the conservative popes. And a lot of it is him going through very unreasonable ways of finding out intel, because when you're in the conclave, for all of you non-Catholics, you are shunned from the outside world. Basically, your entire job is eat, sleep, and vote for a pope. And that is it. You don't get a tablet, you don't get a phone, you don't get newspapers, you don't get nothing. Like, once you're in there, you are in there. So I really enjoyed it because like it definitely gave aspects of what an actual conclave is, but they over dramatized it a little bit. And they're definitely like, I would definitely say it's more of a mystery than it is really a thriller, because there wasn't really like a aha moment at the end. It was just like, oh, okay, like this is where we're going with it. So yeah, that was
I'm anxious to watch it. I've been waiting to to get the screener to watch it. I want to read this little Google plot synopsis because I feel like it gives better justification for my pick here. Cardinal Lawrence has one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, participating in the selection of a new pope. Surrounded by powerful religious leaders in the halls of the Vatican, he soon uncovers a trail of deep secrets that could shake the very foundation of the Roman Catholic Church. And, you know, if I'm thinking about a religious institution guarding dark secrets, that's also been in the process of possibly finding a new leader. Yeah, it's Baylor University, right? This is the Baylor Bears.
As soon as you brought up Conclave, I knew this is exactly where I was going.
yeah.
And yes, right, guy. It's the Cardinals that vote for the Pope, and you need 66% of the Cardinals to vote for the same Pope. Otherwise, the vote fails.
And isn't there a situation that like there's smoke starts coming out of the
Black smoke is a failed vote, and then white smoke or clear smoke is considered a brand new Pope. But yeah, there is a lot of wheeling and dealing and a lot of money and exchanging of favors involved. Because if it's like any other political group, when you need 66% of the votes, like you got to come up with them, because just like every other political party, you know, you're going to have, and spoiler-ish alert, in the movie, you see the factions in the Catholic Party. You know, you have the French Catholics, you have the German Catholics, the Italian Catholics. And, you know, they're not going to vote for each other. They're going to vote for their own group.
Right.
Because, like, why wouldn't you want somebody in your own inner circle in power? Yeah. So it's a struggle. And I really like Conclave. I definitely recommend it. But definitely go in knowing that it is dry and there is not a lot of wow factor.
Well, it seemed to be a pretty beautifully shot and edited movie. Just from
it was great.
Yeah,
I think that all of it was very, very great.
Awesome. Yeah, right, guy. We're not going to bring up any incidents involving the Catholic Church because Penn State is not in the Big 12, so we're not going to.
Yeah, but it is in the Conclave.
Okay,
it is in there.
All right, on to the movie that I wish would win Best Picture. This, to me, was the best picture of 2023 by far. Dune Part 2. I mean, Denis Villeneuve is absolutely at the top of his game. You got to see it.
I haven't even seen Dune.
Well, see Dune and then see Dune Part 2 because literally it's so good. It's so good. I never saw the David Lynch Dune. And I never really like fashioned myself as like someone. I mean, I like science fiction, but I was never particularly like drawn to Dune as a book series or anything like that. The first Dune is very good. This movie, it takes it up to a whole nother level. Very, very well written. There's this Timothée Chalamet develops this like Messiah complex. He's the Lisan al-Gaib, right? Who wages a holy war against his enemies. And it's very much a cautionary tale against, setting up messianic figures, right, in politics. And it's the special effects are outstanding. There's sandworm riding. Okay. What more could you want? So Dune Part 2, for me, this was an easy call. This is Arizona State. Okay. It takes place in the desert. It has been most everyone's favorite film of the past year. And what better Lisan al-Gaib was there than Cam Scadaboo this last season? Your thoughts, Brownie?
Sure.
I wish you'd seen this. I wish you'd seen it.
It's just one of those sci-fi things that I never really got into. Yeah. I don't know why.
It's a desert movie. It's Arizona State.
Kind of just stuck to Lord of the Rings.
Well, hey, I won't fault you for that. I adore Tolkien. That is... The Lord of the Rings films are my favorite films of all time, bar none, period.
I honestly have an entire shelf on my bookshelf dedicated to all of Tolkien's work. So,
my kind of man. Yes. I mean, is there a book series that has more just like truth about humanity and the West and manhood and friendship and love and all of the great
virtues the whole time?
Huh?
And middle fingers the Nazis the whole time?
Yes, exactly. Right? I love Lord of the Rings. Okay. I don't know if every Oscars season necessarily needs a villain, but this one certainly has one. Next movie on the list is Amelia Perez. Okay. And let me tell you something. If Amelia Perez wins Best Picture, I am going to January 6th, the Academy, because this movie, no one likes this movie. Okay.
I
Literally.
can tell IMDb has it at 5.5.
Yes, it is objectively a horrible film. It has offended the transgender community, the Mexican
great.
community, the film community. I have not seen a single person online that has found a single redeeming quality about this film, and yet it cleaned up at the Golden Globes, and it has 12 nominations for the Oscars. It's about a cartel leader, drug lord, who absolves himself of his crimes by getting a sex change, essentially. All right. And then there's some weird family drama as well. It's a French film in France, in which the director said, I saw no need to hire or cast anyone from Mexico because none of them were good enough to be in my movie. Selena Gomez speaks Spanish horribly in this movie. It's a hot mess. And, perhaps you've heard the penis to vagina song running around social media.
Yes.
That is from Amelia Perez. Yes. So we're talking about, go ahead, Brad.
Dumpster fire?
Yes, we're talking about a dumpster fire. We're talking about an objectively terrible film, a film that no one likes. So there was only one choice. Yes, Utah is Amelia Perez.
See, I'm good at this game.
Yes. This was my first assignment. I was like, easy. Amelia Perez is Utah. I don't even have to think about that one at all. Yeah, so there we go.
Utah?
Amelia Perez is Utah.
Don't tell them that they're transgender then.
Oh, yeah. Seriously.
Dear Utah Twitter people, that is not my handle. Do not come after me. Go after Clint.
Well, it has nothing to do
Clint
with
_Foster55.
Yeah, come at it. It has nothing to do with Utah being transgender. It has everything to do with everyone hating everything about this
Utah.
film. And literally everyone, all walks of life, conservatives, liberals, everyone hates this film. All right, moving on to another foreign film.
The real question is, how do you get a 5.5 on IMDb and you still are getting nominated?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? And yet Deadpool and Wolverine are not on this list?
Yeah.
That's some grade A bullshit.
The only thing I can figure is that it's got to be that it's like the anti-Trump movie, and that the Academy's trying to stick it to, to the MAGA world, but it's like literally all of your friends hate it too. Like nobody likes this movie. It's not good. It's not a good film. It's not even about the subject matter. It's just a terrible film. So I'm Still Here is next on the list. This is a foreign film. I can't remember where it's from. But okay, here's your quick synopsis again. Eunice Paiva begins a lonely battle to learn the truth behind the disappearance of her husband, former PTB deputy Rubens Paiva, while trying to keep her family together. And between the title and this synopsis, this to me, it's giving Cincinnati, right?
I'm over here.
I'm still here, right? I'm in this conference, and also, they're
trying to figure out our coaching situation.
Yes, right. They lost their coach. Their coach went missing twice. Okay, they're trying to find another one, but they're still here. Hey, we're in the conference, right? That's this to me is Cincinnati.
That's very fitting.
Yeah, I thought so. See, we're getting into a little bit better territory here. Next up is Nickel Boys. This is not a movie. This is another movie that I haven't gotten to see yet. Where is it in my? There it is. Share. Okay, Nickel Boys is about a young man who ends up at a correctional academy. Yeah, let's see. Elwood Curtis's college dreams are shattered when he's sentenced to Nickel Academy, a brutal reformatory in the Jim Crow South. Clinging to his optimistic worldview, Elwood strikes up a friendship with Turner, a fellow black teen, who dispenses fundamental tips for survival. And let me go back to my list to remind myself. Okay, yes. So we've got a guy who has shown up in a place that he doesn't particularly want to be. It's an uncomfortable place to be. He had his whole life ahead of him, and now he's just trying to survive with the help of his friend. This to me is
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Arizona,
Fafita?
they had a great season last
Nolans?
year in the Pac-12. They come to the Big 12, and all of a sudden, their whole world has come crashing down around them. Arizona State is there teaching them how to survive in this new world in which they found themselves. That's the best I can do with Nickel Boys.
I hope that they don't teach them how to survive.
Yeah, I agree too. They're
we
doing
need-
all right in basketball.
We need new doormats, and I would prefer not to be the doormat again.
For sure. For sure. So that's Nickel Boys. Moving on to The Substance. This is another movie that I'm very excited to see when I get a chance to see it. Did you get a chance to see The Substance, Brownie?
I saw snippets of it on Instagram, but I have not gotten to see all of it.
It looks very intriguing. It's got like a new expressionist type vibe. And it's all about Demi Moore is this aging actress. I think she's just turned 50. And it's basically like nobody wants to hire her anymore because she's old. So she takes this substance, okay, this like wonder drug that is going to make her young. And what it does is there's like a lot of body horror in this movie, apparently. It like births a younger version of herself like out of her body. And they
Nice.
each, for 7 days at a time, one of the bodies has consciousness, okay? And like the other one's like fed through tubes and stuff. Very, very Twilight Zone, right?
So like actual out of experience bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
Multi-personality disorder.
Yes. And I think they both go crazy, and it's the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
Right. So, but with The Substance, we're talking about an old woman that her glory days are behind her. She's trying to recapture the magic of her youth, bring back those good old days. And this to me is West Virginia.
Oh.
Go, Brownie.
I was going to say Rich Rod, baby.
Yes, Rich Rod. Yes, exactly. Rich Rod is the substance, and will it birth a terrifying hellspawn out of Morgantown? We don't know.
I mean, you could have also used Scott Frost at UCF for that one.
Yes, so I literally was like, "This is."
But Rich Rod is definitely older.
Yeah, but also like West Virginia's glory years under Rich Rod, I would argue were more glorious than West Virginia's not claiming any imaginary national championships, mind you.
I don't know. UCF has that national championship.
Anyway. But yeah, this was giving West Virginia vibes to me. Also, I felt like there was another pick that could kind of fit UCF as well. So I put UCF with the other one. I kept The Substance with West Virginia.
Rich Rod, man.
Yeah. Hey, chat. Let me know how I'm doing here. Let me know if you're agreeing or disagreeing with any of these, or if you've even seen any of these movies. Love to hear it. This is one that probably most of you
more than me.
Yeah, maybe. This is one that probably most of you have seen. Wicked. Right, the smash hit musical.
My wife would have murdered me if I didn't see this.
Yes. So, I had a good time with this movie. I do love the musical. So I already love all the music. And I thought Cynthia Erivo absolutely knocked this out of the park. I mean,
100%.
The color grading is abysmal, and the lighting is not great, but everything else about the film I enjoyed.
Yeah, but is literally anything in the Wizard of Oz umbrella ever really that good when it comes to lighting and color coordination?
Well, I mean, when we're talking about 3-strip Technicolor and like the extreme saturation of Oz, I mean, that is Oz to me, right? The super colorful Oz compared to like
the blindness that is like the freaking lollipop area.
Geez, are you a hater? Are you an Oz hater, Brownie? Is that what I'm hearing for you?
Well, you see here, when I was in junior high, I did The Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
It's a musical. I'm not going to say what my role was, but it dealt with lollipops.
Oh. That is actually fascinating, because when I was like 7, I was in a production of The Wizard of Oz, and I too was a munchkin. Except for I was a Munchkin City father, I believe. I don't think I was in the Lollipop Guild. I think I was like one of the city council. It's talking about like how dead she is,
Yeah, I only got it because I was one of the shortest kids in my class.
Well, there you go. But so Wicked, we're talking about a film that, there's a lot of hype surrounding this film. And in reality, like if we're comparing it to like some others in the Best Picture category, like it's okay. So it was giving me Colorado vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter right there.
Yeah. Which is which?
No comment. I don't need to start more beef with the Colorado fans.
I mean, because I was thinking about too, like, a lot of people's best memories of Colorado are in the past, right? In the 90s and so on. Whereas a lot of people, like, their love for Wicked comes from the Broadway show, which was so big like 20 years ago.
Oh, I love the Broadway show.
Yeah.
Seen that multiple times.
Yeah. So anyway, it was giving me Colorado vibes. It's a bit of a stretch, but that's where I landed.
I can't fault you.
Yeah.
I liked it. Would I watch it again? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I would watch it again. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
One thing I will say about
I won't
Wicked,
go out of my way to watch it, but if it's there, I will.
One thing I will say about Wicked is it was paced exceptionally well, because when I found out they were splitting it into a part 1 and 2, I was like, this is absurd. What are we doing? Like, you're gonna make all of Act 1 2.5 hours. This is ridiculous. But it didn't feel like it was 2.5 hours. It felt well paced. So
yeah.
So this is one that I got to watch just the other day. This is up for Best Animated Feature and Best International Film. Flow. It is from Latvia, I believe. Either Latvia or Lithuania. I think it's Latvia that it's from. And it's a really charming film about this cute little black cat who lives alone and is, taking care of himself. And this great flood sweeps over the land, and he ends up with some unlikely friends, a bird and a dog and a capybara, and they all have to figure out, and a lemur also, and they're on this boat together, and they have to like figure out how to work together to survive this flood. And there's a lot of like the cat just like drifting along with the current. There's no talking in this film at all, just animal noises. But it's all the backgrounds and the water and the lighting are gorgeous in this film, and the animals are really stylized. It's a fun time. I felt like, a cat that's been swept away by the current, that's just trying to figure out their life, trying to find some friends to work together with, to create a new life. I was getting Houston from Flow.
Poor Houston is just swept away in the current.
Yes.
Out to the Gulf of America.
Yes, which is the official name now, by the way.
Yeah, right. According to Google.
On Google Maps. It's on Google Maps.
It's not on Apple Maps though yet.
Tim Cook's holding out. But there's a lot of moments where like this cat is in some peril, and he's like meowing very sadly as he's trying to dog paddle through this water, and I'm just like, that just feels like poor Houston. Like they're the little kitty cat that's just trying to tread water until they can get some friends to help them out. Yeah.
Is the Wallace and Gromit one on the animated list?
It is. I didn't include it in our picks here, but
I have seen that one.
What's the penguin's name? Feathers McGraw. Yeah. Okay, next, another animated film, and this was my pick for Best Animated. I really enjoyed this film, The Wild Robots, which I know, Brownie, you said you didn't have a chance to see.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of like... Cool. What were you saying?
It looks cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Iron Giant meets WALL-E meets How to Train Your Dragon. Kind of all of those vibes mixed into one, and like a really heavy overarching theme of like parenthood and self-sacrifice for the people that you love. So this robot,
this is a DreamWorks one, right?
Yes, it's DreamWorks. Yes.
That explains that. Okay.
Yeah. So this robot ends up like it's getting this is like a future world, a future Earth, and this robot is like a service robot, right? Like it does anything that you want. And it gets lost in delivery and ends up on this like wilderness island, right? And the robot, long story short, ends up having to adopt a little gosling that hatches because of circumstance. And the robot has to reject her programming and refigure things out to become something much greater than she was before, this new wild robot. And she helps all the animals around her become greater versions of themselves and work together. And, this whole idea of like rejecting our programming, rejecting what we're supposed to be to become something greater. Brownie, it's giving me Iowa State.
Okay. I accept a DreamWorks animation series as our liked movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Iowa State, like, year in, year
They
out,
finally
bottom
got
dweller,
11 win
right?
seasons.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be winning 10 games a year. You're not supposed to be competing for multiple Big 12 championships, but you've rejected that programming, right? You're into this new world, and you're
I
elevating
reject
your
all
expectations.
reality and make my own.
Yeah, 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 man. Why not? Why not? Okay, up next. So this one, Coleman Domingo is up for Best Actor for his performance in Sing Sing. This is about a man who is wrongfully imprisoned and ends up dealing with his jail sentence by putting on I think it's a musical that he puts on, staging an original comedy with a theater group of other incarcerated men. Okay. So he's dealing with his bad situation by putting on a comedy show, and I'm getting Kansas from this, right? They are imprisoned. Maybe it's not fair that Kansas football is always such a bottom dweller, but gosh, if it isn't fun to watch them like ruin other people's seasons in this comedy routine, like bouncing punts off of a BYU player's head, and
Learning what an
rattling off
offense is.
rattling off almost enough wins to get bowl eligible. It's giving me Kansas vibes.
Yeah, I mean when you put it that way, yeah, because they always think that they've always been wronged and stuff like that. Especially when you think about 2 minutes less in every single game, and they only lose like 2 games the entire season. Like, you want to talk about a woe is me, and I'm stuck in prison. Like,
yes, and
Jayhawk
truly,
fans are probably pulling the "Get me out."
yeah. Like both the ways they find to win and lose games were comical this last year, right?
Oh my god, it's almost to the point of it being a thing.
Yeah. So that's Sing Sing was giving me Kansas. We got 3 left, people. 3 left.
3 left.
All right. So up next, this is our Donald Trump biopic, The Apprentice, that Sebastian Stan is up for Best Actor for. I have not seen it, but so let me read the plot synopsis again, because I feel like this synopsis is why I landed where I was. A young Donald Trump, eager to make his name as the hungry second son of a wealthy family in 1970s New York, comes under the spell of a cutthroat lawyer, Roy Kahn. Kahn sees in Trump the perfect protege, someone with raw ambition, a hunger for success, and a willingness to do whatever it takes to win. And I landed on, Brownie, do you want to give me a guess where I landed?
They'll do anything to win.
Well, I didn't really key in on that anything, but ambitious, a rising star,
con artists, lots of money.
perhaps.
BYU.
I wasn't really keen on that.
Did you? Yeah,
BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah, BYU is where I ended up with them.
I was trying to come up with more insults before I guessed it.
yeah. I was like, well, let's be real. I mean, probably a lot of BYU fans voted for Trump, so this is okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, raw ambition, a hunger for success. There's a lot of talent here. Really asserting themselves as one of the new forces to be reckoned with in this conference. I was getting BYU vibes from The Apprentice.
BYU.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be mad at that, but they might fire you over it.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, I should have thought of somebody who just fired their coach. That's what I should have done.
UCF.
Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, Inside Out 2. So this is another one that is up for Best Animated Film. Did you see Inside Out 2, Brownie?
I saw Inside Out. It wasn't overly that enthused by it, so I will probably only watch this if my nephew wants to.
Gotcha.
Which is more than likely plausible. So,
well,
give it about a year.
I feel like I landed a little bit different on this film than some people. I didn't, because obviously you can see Rotten Tomatoes loved it. I didn't feel like it was as good as the first one. I thought it was like okay. But I know there's a lot of people online that are like, oh my God, it was great. Really the main crux of this movie is Riley's getting older. She's going through puberty, so she's developing more complex emotions, right? And one of these emotions that starts taking over her life is anxiety. And anxiety is this little orange fella who just completely grips everything about Riley's person for for the bulk of this film. So much so that all other emotions, she cannot feel any other emotion except for anxiety, right? That's like really the conflict in this film. And
she must be a tag kid that will be taking AP courses.
Yeah. So it's mostly about like this hockey team she's trying to join. But, I'm thinking about like a little orange, overwhelming sense of anxiety. I end up with Oklahoma State here for Inside Out 2.
They're not anxious. What are you talking about? Mike Gundy is totally going to pull this through, even though he said he absolutely hates NIL.
Yeah. It's going to be fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah. Yes.
Move along.
All right. And so our last film, and I loved this film. I thought it was so great. Nosferatu, really true to the 1922 original, the spirit of that film. So for those of you who have not seen it, it is essentially the story of Dracula, except for, Count Orlok instead of Dracula. And he's this rotting corpse of a man that the main character, who Lily Rose Depp, by the way, did an amazing job in this movie. She's got this kind of like, in some ways she's kind of possessed by him, but she's got this like unnatural lust for him, even though she doesn't want to have it, right? She wants to love her husband and be with her husband, but he has this grip over her. And, he is this shadow looming over the city. And the city is suffering because of his very presence there in Germany. And, in order to be finally free of the spell, she has to give herself to the corpse and sacrifice herself to allow him to, suck her blood, essentially. Yes.
Nom.
Yes, and in a very sexual sense. There's a lot. They really lean into like the sexual violence aspect of vampires in this. But we've only got one team left.
What we do in the shadows.
Yeah, right. So we've only got one team left. This was UCF for me. I ended up on UCF here because, much like The Substance, the UCF fans, they are lusting after a corpse, right? Something that does not exist anymore. Oftentimes UCF, both Scott Frost is a shadow over their program, as is sometimes UCF a dark shadow in the Big 12. And, the only way to free themselves of this curse is to give themselves to it. Okay, let's bring him back. Let's see what happens. And we're either going to bleed out on the bed in a fit of passion, or, we're going to triumph together. And I guess we have yet to see. It remains to be seen what the result is going to be.
I am putting money on that they're going to bleed out.
Yes. Which is how the film ends, right?
Both mentally and financially.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Those are my Oscar to Big 12 comparisons. Brownie, any notes for me?
Apparently I do not watch enough movies. But it's also weird because I do watch a lot of movies. I just don't watch a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
If we did based off of TV shows, I would have been so much better.
Oh, maybe we could do that next. Maybe we could do like Netflix shows or just TV shows in general.
Just TV shows in general.
Yeah. Maybe we could do that.
I feel sorry for whoever we pick as friends. Probably also Utah.
Yeah. You know a Friends guy?
It's boring. I like Friends. It's okay, but it's not like my favorite.
Gotcha. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Brownie, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at Who's Your Burner on Twitter, or at Wide Right Natty Lights Brownie on Blue Sky. Feel free to follow us at Wide Right Natty Light on Twitter as well, and join our Discord. Plenty of fun stuff happening, especially in the off season. We get some really weird conversations going.
Like this.
yeah, honestly, we have an entire section of movies, so it goes on for a while.
Yeah. Y'all subscribe to the show at Big 12 Voice College Football. I mean, we're doing this every week. Come rain, shine, off season, on season. It's not gonna be long before I'm starting my team preview episodes, so you're gonna want to make sure you're subscribed to that. Follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55, my personal YouTube at Clint Foster Comedy. Catch the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform of choice, and make sure you're tuning in to the College Football Show with Mark Rogers, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Until next time, next week, love you. Hope your team wins. And go Big 12.
And don't get sick. It sucks.
Yeah. Take your vitamin C, folks.